Sheol is the Hebrew word that describes the place in the center of the earth where humans who have died reside. Within its chambers are unbelievers and some of the fallen angels who are bound waiting for judgment. Prior to the resurrection of Christ, all those who were saved resided in paradise, which was in the upper chamber of Sheol. Hades is a Greek word for the same place, which comes across into English as hell. However, the English concept only refers to the lowest part of Sheol, where the unsaved humans reside. Sheol has 3 chambers. The lowest part of Sheol is where the fire burns, Deuteronomy 32:22, and the unsaved reside. This is the place where the worm does not die. Worm is referring to the sin nature of a human, not a physical worm. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 24. And they shall go forth and look upon the corpses of the men who have transgressed against me. For their worm does not die, and their fire is not quenched. They shall be an abhorrent to all flesh. The abyss is the holding area for fallen angels, and within the abyss is a pit for malignantly evil angels. Paradise is a residence of those who were saved before the resurrection of Christ. During Christ's earthly ministry to the Jews, the unbelieving ones kept pressing for a sign, even though he had given substantial evidence to them that he was the Messiah. In response, Jesus states that no sign will be given to them except the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so will the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Matthew 12:39-40. But he answered and said to them, An evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign will be given to you except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. In Peter's first address to Israel after the resurrection of Christ, he quotes the prophecies concerning Christ in Hades. King David, who was a prophet of God, knowing that God had sworn to him an oath concerning his throne, wrote about the resurrection of the Messiah, stating that his soul would not be left in Hades, nor would his flesh see corruption. This is a quote from Psalm 16:10, in which Sheol is used. Because you will not leave my soul in Sheol, nor give your pious one to see corruption. Jonah cried out from Sheol after 3 days. Jonah chapter 2 and verse 2. And he said, I cried out to the Lord because of my affliction, and he answered, Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. In Luke 16, Jesus addresses the Pharisees, who were fond of money, by recounting the events that happened to a rich and a poor man. The rich man enjoyed life and fared well every day. The poor man sat at his gate, seeking the crumbs from the rich man's table. At the end of the beggar's life, he is taken to paradise. However, when the rich man's time on earth was through, he was taken to the lowest part of Hades. From there, the rich man could see Lazarus, the poor man, resting with Abraham. Crying out, he requested for Abraham to send Lazarus to him with a bit of water to cool his tongue, for he was in torment. Luke chapter 16, verse 24. Then he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his fingers in water and cool my tongue, for I am in torment in this flame. Because this is the place where the worm of the unbeliever, their sin nature, does not die. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 24. Abraham points out there is a chasm between them, making it impossible to pass over. Luke chapter 16 and verse 26. And besides all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that those who want to pass from here to you cannot, nor can those from there pass to us. This is not a parable which are intended to hide the truth from those who do not believe. Matthew chapter 13, verses 10 and 11. And the disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? He answered and said to them, Because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of the heaven, but to them it has not been given. Christ is speaking of actual events and a real place. The pit of the abyss, or chasm, is where the demons are released from by Satan during the last few months of the Great Tribulation period. Revelation chapter 9, verses 1 through 3. Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the abyss, and he opened the abyss, and the smoke rose out from the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given authority as the scorpions of the earth have authority. It is from the abyss that a demon is permitted to bring back the man of lawlessness' soul and spirit to resuscitate him when he is assassinated at the midpoint of the tribulation period. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 7. Within the pit of the abyss, Satan will be bound for 1,000 years during the millennial kingdom. Revelation chapter 20 verse 3, And he cast him into the abyss, and shut him up, and set a seal on him, so that he should not deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years were finished. But after these things he must be released for a little while. After the resurrection of Christ, he led captivity captive, freeing those in paradise from Hades and moving it to the edge of the third heaven. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 2 through 4. I intuitively knew a man in Christ who 14 years ago, whether in the body I do not intuitively know, or whether out of the body I do not intuitively know. God intuitively knows. Such a one was caught up to the edge of the third heaven. And I intuitively know such a man, whether in the body or out of the body I do not intuitively know. But God intuitively knows how he was caught up into paradise and heard inexpressible words, which it is not permissible for a man to speak. Hades will not prevail against the church because the saints in Christ will never enter Hades. Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. And I also say to you that you are a small stone, and on this foundational rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. When we die, we reside in the presence of the Lord in the third heaven, where he is seated at the right hand of God on the throne. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 8. We are confident, yes, well pleased rather, to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1. Therefore, since you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Sheol and Hades describe the place in the center of the earth, where unsaved humans and fallen angels await judgment at the great white throne. When the dispensations of man are finished, and God brings all things into subjection to Christ, creating a new heavens and a new earth in which righteousness will settle down and feel at ease. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 11. Then I saw a great white throne, and him who sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away, and there was found no place for them. Revelation 21:2. Now I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. Nevertheless we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, in which righteousness dwells.